What I can talk about, Willie, is I mean, Donald Trump. Donald Trump has made so much fun of Beto, hasn't he? Maybe somebody here has too, but yeah. Donald Trump has mocked and ridiculed Beto, let's face it, he's had a really, really rough start to the campaign, right? Mm-hmm. Look at this. Look at these polls right here. Came out.
Head
Beto. Head to head, beating Donald Trump. Now, all the things that he said about the blue shirt wearing, arm waving, hands all over the place, standing on every car that he sees, standing on lunch counter, Beto O'Rourke, just absolutely thrashing Donald Trump by 10 points, 52 to 42. Joe Biden up by 6 points, 51 to 45. Sanders up 6 points, 50 to 44. Harris up 4 points, 49 to 45. Mayor Pete, who half the country don't even know yet, even he is beating Donald Trump, 47-44. And Elizabeth Warren in a statistical tie with Donald Trump. That's right, Donald Trump, the woman that you've derided as Pocahontas and made fun of for the past several years. She's tied with you. But as you peel back the numbers, Willie, on a lot of these polls, one of the most interesting was a Q poll that came out and had a gender gap that is just insurmountable. 34% of women, only 34% of women support Donald Trump. 62% disapprove. I'm not good in math, but I think that is close to 28%. A gender gap of 28%. That is remarkable. And if it stays that way, Donald Trump is going to get trounced.
Yeah, that's even worse. If that held up, Joe, that's even worse than the gap he had with Hillary Clinton among women. Think about that for just a moment. The woman who could have been the first female president of the United States. That's a terrible number. If you go back to that head-to-head poll, what's fascinating is, yes, Beto's beating the president by 10 points, which is pretty astonishing, but Beto's going to have to get to that race. I mean, he's polling at 4, 5, 6% in his own primary. Joe Biden's whole argument so far has been to go directly to the president and say, I'm the one who can beat him. Well, that may be true, but it turns out there are about 7 other people who could make that case as well at this point in the race anyway. So I think Joe Biden is going to have to go on something more than just electability, although a lot of people do think he could beat him, because it turns out at this moment in time, and yes, we're a long way out, just about everybody running against Donald Trump could beat him on the Democratic side.
Well, and Adrian, you look at those numbers as a key player in the Democratic Party. What do you see?
I see a president who's in deep trouble, Joe. I mean, these numbers are terrible. This is May before the election year, in the off year, and he's in the mid-40s. You never want to be in this position if you're an incumbent, no matter if you're sitting in the White House, if you are in any other position in government, in elected office. You never want to be in the mid-40s at this stage of the game. So I mean, these numbers are great. The methodology, by the way, of this particular poll was spot on. There was a wide swath of voters. There are some polls out there, I know, that people are criticizing the methodology, but the methodology of this particular poll was spot on. And if I was Donald Trump, if I was Brad Parscale, if I was part of his team, I would be very, very nervous right now.
You know, and Susan Del Percio, a lot of Trump supporters on talk radio, online, in the RNC have been whistling past the graveyard, talking about how Donald Trump's opponents may be too weak. They're going to end up winning anyway. Americans don't want to be socialists. Well, even the guy that has been screaming for 20 years, I am a socialist, he is ahead by like 5 or 6 points right now. It's very interesting. They think that they can disqualify their opponents. What they don't understand is that those 34% of women that say they're going to vote for him and the 62% that say, I mean, those numbers are pretty locked down. They've been consistently that way for some time. Donald Trump's going to have to do something different this time. Disqualifying his opponent, which is what the pundits all say he has to do, wrong. He's not going to be able to do that in sufficient enough numbers. He's going to have to figure out how to grow his base, something he's never done before, something that's going to be difficult. And that's his challenge over the next year.
Well, and it's going to be a very difficult challenge to meet because what we saw in 2018 were women were coming out to vote, especially suburban women and African-American women. And they were coming out, and you saw the results in 2018. That was just as much about Donald Trump as it was for the candidates they were supporting. Now, Donald Trump has basically limited his strategy. He's not going to be able to grow his base much anymore. All he wants to do is basically suppress the other vote like he did last time. And he will go to that name calling, and hopefully that he will hope that people just won't turn out to vote and that his base will come out even stronger numbers than they did in 2016. I don't see it being successful, but then again, I was wrong in 2016.
Donnie, it just won't work. It won't work because guess what? Donald Trump kept saying, drink my Coke. This is better than new Coke. Drink it. It's the best thing you've ever had. You drink this, it will, all the things that your show's going to do. It will make you a better person. It will save America. And then you drink the Coke, and you find out there's raccoon pee in it. You can't step back from that.
Joe.
Good morning, America.
Yeah. Joe,
But you can't step back from that, and that's what he doesn't understand. Running a second time is far different than running the first time. So Donald Trump's going to be trying to point to everybody else out there. It doesn't work.
The second time around, no.
Re-election for a president is a referendum on that guy right there. Did he do a good job? Or do you need somebody else? Has he exhausted you by his hatred? Has he exhausted you by his bigotry? Has he exhausted you by his tweets? Do you really want to take a chance on another 4 years? I think people look at the Coke, the new flavored Coke, and say, you know what? I'll just have some water.
Joe, thanks for the tease for my show because we have a whole raccoon pee segment on my show. So thank you for teeing that up.
That's why I did it. That's why I did it.
What we have to be careful. First of all, the other thing that Trump doesn't have going from this one, he's not running against Hillary Clinton. I mean, that was the epicenter of the perfect storm for Trump. He ran against a candidate that just people pushed away from. The most important stat today is not even in that last CNN poll. It's the first part of it as far as the 30-point gender gap with women, because you're not overcoming that. Having said that, I want the Democrats to be very, 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 very skeptical about that poll. When I see a poll that says Elizabeth Warren would beat Donald Trump today, I don't believe that's true, personally. I believe if tomorrow the country went to the voting booth, I don't know if that would happen. The worst thing the Democrats can do, and Willie's point is the right point. Hey, wow, everybody's going to be running against Trump. Well, we don't have to do that now because any of us are going to beat them. Wrong. The message for everyone is still, why are we better than Trump? And this is, I think, a little bit of an early head fake. And it's good news for the Democrats, but to me, it's concerning news because the worst thing they can do at this point, it is in any way, shape, or form feel confident.
No. You know, though, Mika, the thing that pundits need to take note of, everybody's upset and enraged by what Barr is doing, what Trump's doing. He's getting away with this. He's getting away with that. We learned in 2018 in the midterms, historic midterms, the biggest loss ever for the Republican Party in terms of votes, the biggest loss in the history of the United States. You get away with nothing. And Donald Trump didn't get away with that then, and he's not getting away with lying about the Mueller report now. Barr is making things worse. His numbers have gone down already 3 to 4 points, lowest ratings ever in the Morning Consult poll. You're going to see after this performance by Barr on Capitol Hill, you're going to see those numbers sagging even more. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.